Today on FilmRiot, we second AC. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes the mystery out of the effects techniques, going to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and the second AC stands for Second Assistant Camera, and the second AC works for the camera department right under the first AC, aka the focus puller. A second is in charge of a lot of things involving the camera cart, batteries, camera builds, and so on, but today I just want to cover what are three of the top responsibilities for a second AC as whispered to me by the sexy Justin Robinson, who has worked on 10 feature films. Jumping right into it with slating, the slate's purpose is syncing video with audio, which is a vitally important job, especially on bigger shows. Filmmaking is all about organization, and organization is about communication. A good second will organize and communicate clearly and effectively with how he calls out his slate and how he writes on it.
Victor, 57 Bravo, take 2, marker.
Justin has even told me that he's heard sound mixers verbally thank a second AC for how they clearly and precisely called out a slate. On smaller unpaid sets, this is a job that's often passed down to the greenest of crew members, usually as a last resort. And slating can be a foreign tongue at first, looking at all the random numbers and whatnot, but there is a method to the madness. When you break it down, the slate is simply the editor's personal translator for each shot. You're telling them this clip is on roll 23, and it's the third take of scene 11, and so on. And the second AC is going to work closely with the script supervisor, who will help with the continuity of each scene in slate. Being a second AC is about being alert and aware of each scene. Without this awareness, you're probably not second AC material. You have to make sure that every piece of information on your slate is the exact data needed for the editor. When you change a card, the roll number on the slate changes with it. In the rush hour of filmmaking, little details like this can be overlooked, and mistakes can quickly pile up if you're not keeping tabs on everything. Again, a good script supervisor should catch something like that so you can make note of it in your camera report. As far as slate placement goes, most people think you just place it somewhere in the air, smack it, and you're done, which is not the case at all. You always want to fill the frame as best you can. You don't want to see your full body in the frame holding the slate. The editor won't be able to translate that information. A good second AC won't make a cameo in the frame, only his hands. And it's good to have a plan of attack when going to slate. Find the lens and the placement first, then double check with your first AC to make sure that the slate is in the ballpark, and he'll let you know when the camera is rolling, which is then your cue to call out the slate and clap it.
Scene 63 Echo, take 4, marker.
Now each focal length is going to be different, so learning the distance of where to clap is crucial. You'd slate a 50mm lens from about 5 feet away and 85 from 8 feet, and so on. Along with that, you don't want your camera operator to have to forfeit their set frame only to pan around looking for your poorly placed slate.
Marker.
Then to help with some tight shots, a good thing to carry in your pouch is an insert slate. Sometimes the normal size slate won't fit into extreme close-ups. If you slide an insert slate into said frame, your DP will probably give you the nod of approval to marry his daughter. Number 2 is changing a lens, which good communication is absolutely vital on set, which is why there's so much on-set lingo. But more importantly, confirmation of the information communicated is what makes or breaks it. If your boss tells you something, using on-set lingo or not, they need to know that the information is processed and understood. Don't copy that unless you actually do, which if you didn't know, you will hear copy that a lot on set, which of course just means heard and understood. But the process of changing a lens is kind of like changing a diaper. It needs to be done with tender love and care. Usually the process goes something like this. The first AC will gently unlock the lens from the mount, while the second AC is patiently weighting the lens. The first AC will then zero out the lens, which means to place the stop wide open and the focus to infinity, and then they'll place the lens face down in the hand of the second. You never want to have the front of the lens touch your palm. No smudges allowed. So it's all in the fingertips. Also a thing to note here, when changing a lens, you'll want to keep a hand over the naked sensor, especially if you're filming at a beach or a windy area. Now this moment here is the most important step. It's communication, but again, more importantly, confirmation. A good first won't let go of the lens until they hear "got it" from the second AC. At that moment, the second AC, with a good grip on that lens, will give a new lens to the first in the same way that it was passed. Then the second AC will put that lens down for a nap by clothing it with a back cap and a lens cap. Changing a lens is a process and should be treated as such. Leaving the lens cap and back cap in the case, don't put them in your pockets, which I'm guilty of. Often they'll get lost or somebody will always be trying to find one for the 35mm. Filmmaking is often a crazy rush to make your day, but when the sun is going down and people are breathing down your neck to get a shot, never rush a lens change. In those few moments, the lens change should be the only thing in the entire world that matters. You can still work fast, but above all, work smart. We have one more tip to get to, but after we pay some bills.
Justin! Justin!
Got it.
If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, or innovator, domain.com is the place to go when that next idea hits you. I know you've heard me say that the list of available domain extensions is growing, but you now have the opportunity to name your site and build your brands in ways that was never before possible. Choose from a growing list of 400 plus domain name extensions like .com, .org, .design, .club, and to give you some love, they're giving you 25% off their already affordable prices. Just use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout, and when you think domain names, think domain.com.
Logo.
And let's jump right back in with tip number 3, which is setting marks mainly for actors, but not limited to just them. It could be for the specific placement of a car pulling up, or just for where that actor needs to deliver the line. For most scenarios, you're gonna need 1-inch camera paper tape. You'll pick a specific color for each actor and keep that tape continuity throughout the entire run of the show. Usually for the lead, use red, the co-lead blue, and then the other colors of the rainbow. Some actors actually have a color preference, some don't give a flying fart.
Fart.
Grow up.
You said it.
You want to save fluorescent colors for anything camera mark related, such as focus marks, camera movement, and so on. A seasoned second AC will tear the tape with a little tab at the end. The reason for this is to make it easier when you're pulling the marks up, and it leaves an easy grab point for the next time you need some tape. But we have a short video coming out soon to our Instagram that'll go into more detail on that. Most inexperienced seconds will lay a mark like this with a tiny T, which is no good. The bottom part of the T should be roughly about 4 to 6 inches, and the top part of the T should be about a foot or so. You'll want to keep all of the marks that you lay consistent in size and, again, color. The reason you don't want a tiny baby T is because no one really stands with their feet that close together. Plus, if there's some really specific blocking and camera movement, there's no place to lay the side of the hard T. Some people also have a really wide stance and may need a box for their feet. Now, when do you lay marks? Usually there will be a blocking rehearsal where the director, DP, and at times the AD will develop the blocking and camera movement of the scene. After that, sometimes you'll get the opportunity for a marking rehearsal, though this is rare. To be properly prepared for either rehearsal, a good thing to do is to make little 4-inch tape tabbies for the bottom part of the T for each character and then stick them on the back of your insert slate. So when it's time to lay marks, you can quickly smack down some marks without dragging multiple tape rolls around. During either the blocking or marking rehearsal, you'll only need to lay the bottom part of the T. Once the actors leave for makeup, you can fly in and tee your marks properly for the stand-ins. Now once you're ready to roll, always double check to see if the marks are in frame or not. If they are, then you're gonna have to bust them, which means remove them, and always kindly let your actors know that you're doing so. If you dot the mark, which is leaving a small circle small enough that the camera won't see it, still let the talent know. Most good seconds are gonna have a good line of communication with the actors. Then when you're shooting most exterior scenes, 1-inch paper tape isn't really gonna work out. Some seconds have sandbag T marks, which are about $14 a piece on Film Tools, but if you don't wanna dish out that much money on those, you can get metal T brackets from Home Depot and tape them whatever color that you assign for your actor. They're small, but they can do the trick for exteriors. If you're seeing the marks in frame, instead of dotting it like you would with a tape mark, you can just replace it with a golf tee, preferably the same color as the mark. The great thing about professional sandbag tees is that golf tees go hand in hand with it, but like I said, money. You can also use white chalk for marking vehicle stopping points or anything else needed, and if you're out in the woods, especially in a rush, you can always just make a T mark in the dirt or tape some sticks together if all else fails. So your mark bag should have golf tees, chalk, metal T brackets, or sandbag tees if possible. And one last tip, if you're ever laying tape marks on dusty concrete, take some canned air and blast it before laying the tape. It'll stick a little bit better.
Logo.
So there you have it, the top 3 skills of a second assistant camera. And of course, with all this, practice is your friend, but experience is your best friend. And thanks to Justin for lending his experience to this episode. If you have any questions about being a second AC, you can find Justin on Twitter right here. And I'll see you guys next time when I make a hazmat suit out of a shower curtain.
What in Sam hell are you doing? Hurry up. Hurry up. Whatever you are doing, hurry up. Do you hear me? We are losing light and you are ruining my movie. Do not ignore me, boy.
I think you got it. It's so good.